Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Hobby Studio podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Michael.
And I'm Megan.
Yeah, so what are we doing tonight then, Megan?
Well, Papa Negan is going to be talking to us about Walking Dead All-Out War.
Yeah, I had a very good conversation with him. We went international because he phoned us all the way from Germany.
Yes, from Germany, yeah.
Yeah, so that's great. International in our second episode. And then I'm going to talk to Gareth from up the road, so less international, about Star Wars Legion. And then what are we doing?
Then we're going to run through building how to build an army list for Age of Sigmar, using my Ironjawz that I've had for ages as a kind of example of how to do that.
Yeah, you're a bit nervous about that, aren't you?
Yeah, because I've never built the Age of Sigmar army list before. I kind of was gifted, you gifted me the Ironjawz, and I really like the look of them, but I've never actually got around to building them, and building the list for them and everything, so I don't quite know what to expect to do with that, so...
That's perfectly cool, so, that's what we're going to try and figure out for you, so we're learning stuff together, because I'm talking about 2 systems tonight with those guys. I've got no clue about either of them. So I sound like a right idiot in those interviews, I tell you. Awesome. So what have we been doing since the last episode in terms of our own personal hobby?
Well, I have painted a lone unit of Burner Boys, and started to paint. Well, I built and started to paint a Gorkanaut for 40k.
Oh, awesome. That's kind of cool. Yeah, and it's looking very nice so far. But it's sort of the bane of your existence at the minute, isn't it?
It is the bane of my existence because you've very much got us stuck into a way of painting the mechanical things, of doing like a patchwork of different colours of metal.
Yeah.
And I hate that. It would have been so much easier just to airbrush it one colour and go from there, but no, I am stuck painting layer upon layer of different colours and different pieces of surfaces.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll have to get your Burner Boys on the show notes to have a look at them. I've been busy myself. Just the highlights, because I'm a very quick painter.
You are?
Yeah, I'm a very quick painter. I painted for Underworld, I painted some Ironjawz. So talking about Ironjawz tonight. I did Morgoth's Crushers for those. Really nice to paint. I also painted for Bolt Action. I painted a German Hair Infantry Squad, because we discussed Bolt Action last show with Dom, and it sort of got me thinking, I've got a Bolt Action army, I need to get on with it.
Got you started.
Yeah, I got started. I also did some Sikaran Rust Stalkers for 40k. I built a ton of ships for Drop Fleet Commander, which I hope to talk about in a couple of weeks. And I did some Custodes for Warhammer 30k. Horde of Heresy, amongst a few other bits and bobs. But that's pretty much what I've been up to. So.
Covering different hobbies.
Covering different games. Kind of what this podcast is supposed to do. So, I tell you what, shall we crack on with the first segment, which is All Out War?
Yes, we'll move into that.
Brilliant. Okay, hi, and I am joined by my friend Negan, who's joining us from Germany, and he's here to talk about Mantic's Walking Dead All-Out War. And I've kind of answered partly one of the questions I was going to ask him there by saying the publisher. But
just a little correction, though. It's not only going to be All-Out War, also Call to Arms, because the games are very similar and use the same models and base rules.
Okay, cool. That's something I didn't know. So
I mean, the questions still work the same for both games, but just going to maybe add a little here and there.
Awesome, brilliant. So I think what we'll do is we'll start off by asking a bit about your background in wargaming. So how did you come to it, and what kind of games do you play in that? And so, what do you play now?
Well, the beginnings are very humble, so to speak. It's basically just little me, like I think 9 years old, finds a metal box. It's from my mom. I look inside, and what's in there? Bunch of miniatures, metal miniatures, and the very, very classic 1993, I think, like the very, very famous monopose Marine. You know which one I mean?
Oh yeah, I do.
The second edition starter monopose Marine.
Yeah.
That and the very famous Chaos Warrior. It's basically my mom apparently got this old like starter set where you get the Chaos Warrior and the Marine with the famous paint pots, with the, I think it was a squig or something, the red thing on the bandolier,
Oh, that's not too bad. That's a good way to get started.
Yeah, but they were already painted, so yeah, not too bad. I mean, there were a bunch of metal miniatures because my mom wasn't really into like wargaming, but she did like D&D, rather though. The German version, I think Dark World, it's called in English, but in German it's the Schwarze Auge. It's called like the Black Eye.
I have heard of it, but I can't say I've played it.
I think it's more of a German Austrian D&D sort of. I think it's a bit though it has a few cooler elements from what I know. Like for example, it is like a continuous storyline that's like gets expanded every month,
Mm.
So like every month they bring out the Aventurian newspaper, sort of the Aventurian Messenger, and it's basically like the monthly magazine that expands the story for like a year or so, I think.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's been going for years already, and my mom told me like, even this evening actually, like she explained that when she played, the dungeon master like told them to not continue reading the Aventurian Messenger because it could spoil the campaign, because the campaigns usually revolve around certain times, and so you actually have to try to stick to continuity. So it's like you have to read up a lot more when you start this game than when you start D&D. Because D&D you can do anything basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like pre-written campaigns. I think they still exist for the Black Eye. But if you want to make your own, it's usually meant to keep to the storyline, so you can't like introduce a character that's already dead in this timeline,
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's sort of how I got interested in the painting, at least. It was just curious, though I was more into Lego. But like the big breakthrough came at a like school party, not party, like a day where you don't have school, but you have certain activities you can do. And one of the fathers like brought the 8th edition starter set from Warhammer Fantasy, and kids could pick a Skaven or a High Elf and paint him. And that's what I did. I painted up a High Elf, and I even have it still on my table here. Currently trying to replicate the scheme on another one, exactly the same sculpt, just with my current skills, because that one was a bit weak, so to speak.
So just as a way to see how far you've come.
Basically.
That's a good idea.
And yeah, that's where I really got interested, and asked my mother if I could maybe do that, get some models. And then we went like to the comic book store where she got some of her roleplay stuff, and she bought me a box of 10 skeletons, the current sculpts.
Oh yeah.
Kind of sad I didn't get the older sculpts, because I think they would have been much easier to paint and build, because they're like not as fragile.
Yeah, probably. The detail.
Yeah, and she got herself.
The detail comes with a cost of fragility.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think they had more character, the old sculpts. I mean, now I think like 10 years later, I actually got a hold of like a box of the old ones as a regiment.
Oh, very nice.
even with like 4th edition box. So yeah, it's kind of funny. Like I started with skeletons, and now I have exactly those I would have actually wanted in hindsight.
Nice.
But yeah, she got herself the Skaven Doom wheel because my mom, like, she doesn't like the game to play, but she really, really loves Skaven. I even like made her the Vermin Lord, painted it up for her birthday a few years ago.
Oh, very
I think it
nice.
was 2017.
And
now this.
I was saying, if only my mother liked Warhammer of in some sort of form description.
Yeah. But yeah, that's sort of how I got started, just painting skeletons.
Cool.
But I didn't really get into playing. I mean, I did a test game with, like, I think 5th edition. Like, which one was Assault on Black Reach again?
That was 5th edition, yeah.
Yeah. I did a test game with that. I also had, like, my test marine. I subconsciously painted him like Iron Man, like with a deep red and yellow.
Oh, very cool.
So I don't think I have that miniature anymore, or if I do, it's like clustered with paint. So it's like, yeah, the cliche of, like, you know, clustered with paint first test model.
Yeah. I think we've all got a model like that.
Exactly.
My friend Chris has got a Contemptor Dreadnought that he continually strips and repaints, and I'm like, that's a very expensive testing model.
Yeah, but poor Dreadnought.
Yeah. Something cool.
Yeah, so I guess like the first few years I was just like buying what I thought was cool, painted it up. I think a lot of from that era is like ruined now, not really usable anymore. I used to have like a Swarm Tyrant. I don't think I have it in full pieces anymore. It's just like a lot. I think that the only time I actually like a full army was actually randomly, because the neighbor's kid moved out, and basically my mom said I could just have his Warhammer stuff.
Nice.
Actually, I didn't know he had Warhammer. And, like, he had some good stuff. It was you remember the old, what's it called, battalion boxes, you know, from Warhammer Fantasy?
Yeah.
Was the battalion box from the Tomb King's 7th edition, I think. So, 3 chariots, 2 regiments of archers. I'm not sure. Did it have skeleton riders? Let me just check.
I think it may have. It's going back, because that was obviously pre the redoing of the range, wasn't it?
No, not redoing of the range. They just got 7th was like, they still had models in metal, like most, like, for example.
Yeah, no, I know. What I mean is that they sort of redid the Tomb King's range. I think at the beginning of, was it? It was during 8th. I think they redid the range.
Did they? I just no. I don't think they redid it. They just added more. Like, they added a few more units.
Loads of plastic
stuff. Snake Riders, for example. The Necrotect, I think one of my favorite models they added.
Yeah.
But they basically kept everything that was still there. Like, they didn't remove anything.
Awesome.
But checking it now, I can see it's 2 regiments of skeletons, one 8-man regiment of cavalry, and 3 chariots. So that's actually more than there was in the 8th edition battalion, because that one had only 1 squad of skeletons.
Yeah, the army boxes and things got slowly not as good as time went on.
Though, to be fair, the battalions were nice, but they lacked the character, basically. I think it's not the worst concept. I mean, they weren't marketed like as a starter, but like, if you were a little more experienced, you could just buy that box and then choose like your own general. Yeah. I think they were meant like as a starter for an army if you were a bit more experienced in the game.
Yeah, I was trying to start up Empire, and you needed dozens of those boxes just to be able to get the minimum. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, but I remember one of the guys working at the local GW told me that, like, in the early 2010s, in Germany at least, it was that way, the store owners like had this unofficial system where you basically had like sort of a road to card you could like fill out for an army. So you basically had your steps that you could like get checked in the store every time you finished them.
Oh yeah, we had something like that as well.
If you complete that, then they would just gift you a free army book of your choice. That was basically meant that you finish an army and start a new one immediately.
Yeah, we had something similar.
Okay, no, because they told me that when GW got wind of it, that there was like a thing, they immediately like forbade it.
Because it did end suddenly where we were. So it did end quite suddenly where we were, and then it was never mentioned again.
Possibly someone talked and they got wind of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a thing, and I also got Battle for Skull Pass.
Oh yes, that was a good one.
The whole bash, and a bunch of Dark Elves characters. So was a lot of stuff actually. Sadly, I don't have the dwarves anymore from Battle for Skull Pass because, yeah, I gifted them to a friend when I moved away. I kind of regret it now, not because I'm not like I didn't want to give him something good, but like right now I'm sort of in the idea that I want to collect like every starter set from Fantasy, and that kind of hinders my progress because I now have to get Skull Pass too. I mean, it's not too bad. It just costs like 130 euros on eBay. So that's actually like a decent price for an almost like an over 10-year-old set, you know?
Yeah, thankfully fantasy prices haven't gone stupidly high. Which is nice.
Have you watched any of the Tomb King prices?
Well, Tomb King, yeah. But I think it's because they were less of them, whereas the starter sets, I think, so many of them were made.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a stupid big pile of, I can't remember, some of the high elf warriors that sort of went alongside the, I think it was the Sea Masters or something. That went alongside
the Sea Masters? Oh, you mean the Draconian Guard?
That could be it, yeah. The guys with shields and big swords. That went out with a...
Yeah, I think I know which one you mean.
With a basic painting
you mean
set.
Wait. Basic painting sets, the only ones I remember are archers, and then two versions with spears. Don't think they ever had any...
They might have spears.
Probably.
They've got like dragons on the shield.
Yeah. That's the one from the 8th edition. I think that's exactly the one I painted like in the school.
Yeah, I think I've got like 20 of those sprues somewhere. I keep meaning to put them on an old hammer thing and say, does anybody want these? So I might dig them out at some point in the next few days and see if anybody on the old hammer group wants them.
I mean, I'd take them.
Fair enough. I've got some stuff to send to you anyway, so... Well, not stuff.
Yeah, it would be fun. I mean...
When the mail calms down.
Yeah, of course. But like, I'm totally always interested. I mean, I've got like a bunch of these spear guards and also the ones with swords for free from the manager of my local GW. I just asked her if she had one of those because I wanted to repaint it, and she just asked me if I wanted a few more. Like, it didn't cost me anything. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, my GW gave me a bunch of Sigmar, what do you call them? Stormcast Eternals and Primaris Intercessors when a few Christmases back.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, to be fair, these are like...
Yeah.
They're like cheap throwaways.
Yeah, I just wanted one of each to make a Christmas decoration with, and I just got handed a big pile. So...
Yeah. That's like the big pile I've got where I like had the first army, but no, I didn't play that either, you know? I haven't played one game of Fantasy to this day.
Nice, but you like the models. You love the models, though.
I love the models, and I do want to play, but for one, I have to learn a lot of stuff. I mean, that's the reason why the game system basically got cancelled, because it was just too high of a bar for an entry.
Yeah,
you have to learn so much stuff for that.
Definitely. Anyway, so we're here today to talk about another game that's not made by GW. So we've already mentioned that. We're talking about Walking Dead games from Mantic. So in a nutshell, how would you basically, what is it at its core? So you said there were 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So...
It's easy to describe. The All Out War was the first game, and then Call to Arms was a bit more competitive play version of it.
Right.
So it's both are sort of skirmish games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just every playable character is a literal character named one. And they all have, well, not all, but a bunch have like different versions. So, I mean, the most basic would be Rick. Rick is the main character from The Walking Dead, and you have different Ricks. You have the Cynthiana survivor Rick, you have the prison guard Rick, you have the, at a certain point he starts having only one hand, which affects him only being able to carry pistols and one-handed weapons. But you can never take like 2 Ricks in one group. So it is aimed at being also a bit more thematic, also a bit more realistic to the comics themselves, which would answer another question. The game is purely based on the comics, not on the TV show.
Right, so we won't be seeing Daryl anytime soon.
Yeah, no Daryl, no Merle, but we get to see a bunch of characters that haven't really appeared in the comics, so to speak. I mean, the best example would be the faction called the Marauders. The Marauders are 3 dudes, Judd, Craig, and Andy.
Mm-hmm.
And they never appear like that in the comics. They appear as characters. Especially the 3 hillbilly guys that rob Abraham, Rick, and Carl on the bridge.
All right.
And one of them tries to rape Carl. I think in the TV show they're called the Claimers, and it's a bunch more. And like Daryl joined them for a while, but anyways, they didn't get any names in the comics. But the game actually has like a license to name certain characters, so their names are canon now.
Awesome. So as well as being based on the book, the comics, it's also expanding them as well.
Just with names, really. That's all. So there's no additional characters they make. They usually just take certain background characters. For example, like the sniper Carlos, he's just talked to once, like take aim on that position and make sure if they do anything funny, you shoot them. But aside from that, there's not much more.
Okay, cool. And the other version, how's that differ?
Mm-hmm. Well, while the first game is more for like thematic narrative play, the second one introduces more stricter rules so more competitive rules. You, for one, get a completely additional strategy phase with stratagems for certain roles in the group. You also have now like official groups. So that means Rick's group, the Saviors, Woodbury's Army, they all get faction bonuses. You also have a chart which factions can actually work with which.
So the first one is more throw people together, and the second one is...
Yeah, not really. I mean, even in the first one, you cannot really mix any factions, so to speak.
Right.
But like the Call to Arms makes it like actually have an impact. So you have certain factions that are allied with one another, which are allowed to be played together. Others just aren't, or you don't get any bonus for them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the point.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool.
No.
Right, awesome. Okay, and so it's based on the comics, not the TV series. So I mean, I suppose that's good because the comics in themselves are a fantastic world. I mean,
indeed they are.
There's so much in there that they haven't even touched.
One point.
Sorry,
I forgot to say. Since you know the Telltale games,
Telltale games, yes.
Since they are canonically part of the comic world as well, since they had appearance of Michonne, Jesus, Herschel, which are based on the comics, they also have at least right now 2 characters from the games, Clementine and Lee. But they have teased that there will be at least like 1 or 2 expansions regarding the Telltale characters as well. Awesome. So we have a chance of seeing characters like Javier, our favorite Kenny, for example. Though it's going to be a question how they're going to introduce them, because it was mentioned like expansion. So it could either be waves or like literal expansion. But I'm going to talk about that later. Okay?
Yeah, cool. Right. So, I mean, I guess the one of the questions that I'd like to sort of ask is, what would you say is the best way to actually get started in the game? Like, is there a starter set, or is there a particular? Because I've noticed you've got Here Comes Negan and All Out War starter, and it's like so.
Oh, that mention. Here's Negan is not a starter to All Out War.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Negan is a boxed game in itself. It does use certain gameplay mechanics from All Out War, but adds a few more. For example, your characters cannot really die unless they're bitten. They just like go numb, and they can recover the last point every now and again until they're bitten and turned into zombies.
Awesome.
You also have an autonomous player, Negan, which beats you up if you don't do your job right.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just drink something. Sorry.
That's all right. You get used to this when you do podcasts. You do lose your...
I've never done it before, so... Yeah, I've never done one before. But yeah, Here's Negan is not really like a start. It's okay if you want the miniatures, or if you want like the paper board for some inside skirmish. You can actually combine certain mechanics from the game. For example, you get walker horde tokens, which are basically just a walker on the chip, but it's always only if you're out of sight. So there are walls marked in the game board, and if you see a token, you turn it around, and it has one of the 3 colored dice on it, and the amount of like eyes. How do you call that? What do you call it on the dice? The point, the dots.
I suppose just the numbers, really.
Okay, yeah.
Dots,
yeah, depending
numbers,
on what number
values.
you roll with that certain dice, that many walkers will then appear in the hallway, for example.
Yeah, because I have seen it uses custom dice, doesn't it? So
exactly. It uses a bunch of dice, but back to the topic of how to get started. I'd say the core box is quite a good start to the game.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with 5 survivors. Wait, not 5. Not I think 6 actually. Yeah, 6. Like 4 of the scavengers, which is like a no-name faction, if you want to say it like that. Like they only appear to be shot up and cause a certain issue in the comics. And on the board game, they reflect that as well. They're horrible, I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're pitted up against Rick and Carl, which are both the cards of the Sintiana survivors, meaning Rick still has his hands, which is a bit weird because the scavengers appear way later in the comics where Rick already lost his hand.
Right.
But I guess, I mean, the starter box doesn't really have anything narrative to speak of. But it's a good start. I mean, I picked it up like in 2016. Honestly, no, not because I liked The Walking Dead. I just want like something else to paint, actually. It was zombies, so it was nice.
Because the models do look really nice. And
though if you want to paint it, just be warned, they are a bit smooth. You know what I mean? Like the faces, they don't have like the sharp details of GW. So Wash, for example, is not going to give as much detail. So you have to work with a lot of layering to get the proper details. But it's possible. It's not impossible to do. So
it's like saying, maybe 10, 15 years ago GW stuff.
No, actually not. I mean, GW always had like the sharp facial features that they made, but these sculpts are a bit smooth. Like they don't have this the hard wrinkles in the face that catch so much of the shade. They have more.
Oh, so is it more of a stylistic choice then?
Yeah, I think it's more realistic in this regard.
Cool. I suppose not.
But
quite so heroic.
The core box is super, but honestly, if you really want to get a good experience and you're sure you want to commit to the game, you should really just go for the collector's edition. It's 110 euros, I think, like a little less in pounds and a bit more in dollars. But I mean, it's a starter price for GW stuff, so it's okay, I guess. But hey, you get the starter box, you get double the amount of walkers, you get an old event exclusive booster pack, you get the Clementine and Lee for that, you get a solo expansion. So if you want to play the game alone. It's also possible because there is an autonomous factor to it, which includes also another survivor. And I think that's it. Yeah, but it's a really good start if you ask me.
It's not bad. Okay, cool. Yeah. And it's easy enough to jump in on 2. It's not like I suppose I'm going to jump ahead in the questions here. So, I mean, how would it differ from, say, 40k or Age of Sigmar and that? Because I think that's kind of where most people's baseline in gaming is, in the GW stuff. So how different are they, would you say?
I'd say it's a bit more situational. I mean, it's a skirmish game, of course. Mm-hmm. So for one, it's similar to like Kill Team, where you take turns moving one character alone.
Yeah. So
that's different. Then there is like you don't have to roll for certain stuff to do you do have to roll, but you get like 2 actions for each character. Mm. You are not allowed to do one action twice unless the character has an ability that says so. So, for example, one character from Here's Negan, Tara, I think, she has an ability that tells you can do any action twice.
Oh.
Which is good, but it can also be a trick to get you to be a bit more careless. So, for example, if you have the ability to shoot twice, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, but then you're not getting into cover. I don't know the game, so I'm just sort of...
No, but like just saying, shooting twice instead of once sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But shooting causes noise, mayhem, and attracts walkers.
Ah, nice. That's good.
It really actually only is really good for running twice because it could cover great distances. Mm-hmm. But for that, you would be better off with a runner like Glenn, because I think he has an ability that lets you run twice. But nice. The difference would be this: you have actions and you have to coordinate properly, because with every turn you do, the other player does one too. So you could quickly have to change your strategy because suddenly he's in range to shoot you. So you might want to pull back this character instead of moving him forward, Right,
so it's not like you do all your stuff all at once and then the other player will...
Exactly, so it's more strategical in that regard.
Mm. So there's a lot more reacting.
Exactly.
Cool.
Then I'd say you also have to keep in mind there are walkers everywhere.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how do the zombies...
Because walkers are... It's a big elephant in the room. The walkers are an autonomous faction that react certain ways, and you want to avoid them at all your cost,
So you're not playing against the zombies, you're playing against other players. And
you can play against zombies as well.
All right.
So... That's the cool thing. You can play as a team against another team, but you can also just play as one character with other people as a group together, and then you can do it against another group, or you can do it just against the walkers. Cool. So there's a lot of variety in play, because...
So the walkers are sort of, in a lot of games, there's more like an environmental factor.
Exactly, but if you choose certain missions, for example, clean out, then you have to basically kill all the walkers. And there it gets a bit more... You can get more issues because walkers can be added up, so you can get new walkers while you play.
Awesome. And and do the walkers have sort of... I don't know if you've played Zombicide before, but in that...
I have the game, but I haven't played it yet.
All right, yeah, because there are different types of walkers that have different sort of... Well, zombies, so you might get... I don't know.
Yeah, I know
in the
what
comics,
you mean.
You've got things like Lurkers and
you don't really have... They're called Lurkers, but you have 3 kinds of walkers, if you want to say it like that. Mm-hmm. You have normal walkers, then you have the very rare armored walkers, which usually don't appear like when you start the game, but if you have a character that wears armor, for example, Rick in his prison, most of the prison advisors actually, they wear a riot gear, so they spawn as an armored walker, which always can withstand one headshot in each turn.
Right, so that would be like a prison guard that just got left.
Or mostly it's actually just a zombified version of your character, because that's a mechanic too. If you don't kill someone with a headshot, they're gonna return as a walker.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
Mhm.
I like that.
And then there are lurkers too, but they don't get. They're not on a table actually. Lurkers are items you can find, sort of, because you can place resource markers on the table, which during the game you can search for band-aids, for bad weapons, or even ammo refills. But you can also find booby traps, for example, grenade with a pin being pulled.
Mhm.
Or you can find nothing, or you find a lurker, which is just a normal walker that attacks you.
Right.
But you can get bitten more quickly.
Cool. So it sounds like there's going to be a really easy way to sort of do campaigns and sort of almost RPG-ish stuff going on.
Yes, partially, but in that regard, if anyone starts new, I'd highly advise doing expansions one by one.
Right.
So you start with a core game,
Mhm.
and then you buy expansion 1, Days Gone By, expansion 2, expansion 2.
Also, it follows the comics in that sort of regard.
Sort of. You have, I think, 5 expansions. I can just conjure up the page. But each expansion introduces a new aspect to the game. So, for example, expansion 1, Days Gone By, introduces the ability to create characters, actually.
Oh.
Yep. Because it basically gives you a chart with stuff you can buy for your character for this many points. And you get your own character, your custom character.
Nice. Brilliant.
It even says, it is a bit like Rogue Trader or the older Warhammer in this regard, that it even states you can make up your own special abilities, but you have to price it reasonably, and you have to tell the other player and ask if they're okay with it.
Right. Okay, that sounds kind of cool. Very old school.
And yeah, the expansions are Days Gone By, Miles Behind Us, Safety Behind Bars, Made to Suffer, and Fear the Hunters.
Yeah, so very much like the comics.
Yeah, but it's not complete. Like it skips a few chapters here and there.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, if you go all the way to Fear the Hunters, in Fear the Hunters you get the campaign expansion, basically.
Right.
Which also introduces factions, like as a more... I mean more like a point that you can play against in a bigger campaign, because till then factions just meant which group against which group.
Right. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. And so, I mean, what kind of factions are we looking at there? I mean, you've mentioned a few of them. So, I mean, what kind of factions can you build your, I don't know, is the unit a gang or a group or?
Well, it's a gang and a group. I don't see where the difference is in this regard.
Oh, right. So maybe it's in English. So I was just sort of wondering, because you know how in Underworld you got war bands.
Yeah, but I mean, do you mean like gang or group in the sense of like an impact in rules, or just as a way of calling them?
No, as in what they're called. Just what?
They're called groups. Groups, okay, basically. Cool. So you begin with the classical, it's sort of a mix actually. With the latest expansions, it's Atlanta Camp Survivors / Alexandria. Mm-hmm. I think you know Alexandria?
Yep.
So basically, since in the latest expansion, they sort of moved towards the Alexandria arc, the first one. So you have Aaron, you have Heath, you have Jesus now, you have Maggie in her new outfit. Mm-hmm. I think the latest we've got was the Maggie in the prison, so it's nice seeing a new one.
Right, cool.
But so you have the standard, the good guys, so to speak. Then the second you're introduced to is Woodbury, of course, the Woodbury Army. Mm-hmm. Though it is to mention that there is like a sub-faction that only really comes up in Call to Arms, which is the Green family, because you actually have a bit more to play with. So you have Lacey, you have Arnold, you have Maggie, you have the twin sisters, you have Herschel.
Cool.
And they're an okay faction, just small and not the strongest, to be honest.
So like a more of a narrative faction, because...
Yeah, and it's a nice one since they have a lot of healing, actually.
Oh, very good. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
No, that
they are... Cool. Yeah. Then you meet the Woodbury Army, which are... Well, it's an army, literally. You get so many models for them. because they have. I think they're the ones with the most unnamed named characters. So characters that only really get named with a game.
Right. Awesome.
And I can't really count how many it actually is.
So they're a big faction.
Exactly, and they pack like the most firepower of all the factions of the game because they actually have, at least in Call to Arms, they have access to a rocket launcher.
Oh, very nice.
But only with one refill, so sad. But it's nice actually to have a rocket launcher.
Oh, so when you say refills, is you have to reload the weapons?
Exactly, that's a mechanic that weapons, as soon as you get a headshot with your weapon, because that's a thing on the dice that certain sides have an exclamation mark. No, it's a symbol that indicates a headshot.
Right.
Headshots are, as you can guess, to take out walkers because they don't die otherwise.
Yeah.
And if you off a character with a headshot, then that character is gone. So no reawakening.
Right.
And yeah, but
no, what I meant is, do you have to reload the?
Yeah,
I'm
on to explain it right now. So if you hit a headshot with a shooting weapon, at least, then you have to take an ammo check and you use usually like the 50-50 dice, I would call it. It's a black die with a sheriff star on one, like three sides and nothing on the other. So you check, and if you get nothing, then the ammo is empty. You basically fired your last round.
So if you get lucky, you might get unlucky.
Exactly. And you can only use your weapon again if you have an ammo refill, which you can buy for points before the battle, or you find in stashes.
So that's what your resources are for.
Yep. And for certain characters, I think it's only marksmen, they can still do this check when they hit 2 headshots in one go, but anyone else immediately fails their check. So 2 headshots and your weapon is definitely empty.
Right. Okay, cool. That's awesome.
And rocket launcher, well, obviously he has one use only.
Right. So the rocket launcher is very much a use it and that's it, done.
Yeah, well, you can buy one refill unless you get copy your refill card and make more of it. But yeah, your rocket launcher is always empty after one shot. Even if you hit, even if you miss, you don't do any damage or anything. Although you will always sort of hit. You don't have to check if you hit and then to wound. You just shoot and you roll for damage and they roll for defense, and everything you get over their defense you deal as damage. Yeah, it's a rather simple shooting mechanic, if you ask me.
Yep. Okay, cool. Well, that does sound pretty simple. So there's no comparing tables and...
No. There is not even in Call to Arms. The Call to Arms, I'd say, it takes the good simple parts of All Out War and just adds a few more intricate parts like weapon effects and character traits, just meaning a little more, but the shooting is the same actually.
Fantastic. So would you say this is a reasonably easy game for beginners?
Yeah, I'd say so. But you should pick up All Out War first, and I mean you have to because Call to Arms is only available as a booklet, and well, you can buy the rules as a booklet, and you have to actually buy separate cards. But they started making it easier by releasing a faction pack for a few factions already. Like you have the Whisperers, the Woodbury Army, Rick's group, the prison inmates, they count as a separate group.
Okay,
and cool. The Saviors also have a faction group.
Fantastic. So in terms of, because obviously I think a lot of us love the painting aspect of it. So what would you say is your favorite model to paint? In terms of
hard choice, actually.
In terms of sculpting wise and painting wise, what would you say is your favorite model?
I'd say Negan is my favorite.
Negan.
I mean, obviously, but like him because I think he has the most different sculpts in the whole game from all the characters.
So he's got a lot of alternatives.
Yeah, he gets. You have one that was a Kickstarter exclusive. I actually got that when I bought the core box. Mm-hmm. So that's one from my favorite image panel, where he basically holds up like a grenade, with the Lucille over his back, and basically shouts to them that they're gonna them up. It's a really cool shot, if you ask me. Cool. That was like the first Negan they got.
Mm-hmm.
Then they released in Wave 2, they released a booster pack with him, where he's basically just mid-swing with Lucille. Was pretty cool too. Then you got here's Negan, which is one actually without his leather jacket. My least favorite, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
But he's basically just holding up Lucille. And then my very favorite, which sadly you can't get officially anymore, it's Eeny Meeny Moony. Eeny Meeny Moony? Is that the how it spells?
Eeny Meeny Miny.
Yeah, Eeny Meeny Miny Moan
right.
Negan, because they released 3 limited edition things. First one was Governor was Michonne, and the second was the Eeny Meeny Miny Mo scene, basically. So you got a big scenic base, and with a Negan that basically is pointing at someone with Lucille, and you actually have sculpts for Kneeling, Glenn, Sophia, Carl, Rick, the whole gang that basically got chosen to, let's see whose head I bash in.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'd say he has the best sculpts, except for, of course, that he is Negan, because I don't know. Negan is not Negan without his jacket.
Yeah. And what about gameplay-wise? What's your favourite model in terms of gameplay?
I'd have to say Negan again, actually.
Negan again.
Yeah, because, I mean, I think it's his, even either Leader of the Saviors or Badass Motherfucker version. Yeah, actually, one of his versions is called Badass Motherfucker.
Yeah.
There's only like 2 versions of him to play, and I think the Leader of the Saviors is his Negan one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he has a super strong ability which reduces all damage taken in melee combat by 1.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good one. He has pretty good shooting and melee stats. A decent defense, I'd say. He has 8 health points, which is the highest you can get, I think. But of course, he's expensive for that. I think he's 80 points or so.
Yeah, and what kind of points would you play in a typical game?
You usually go between 200 for I'd say medium-sized gang with less than usual equipment, or 300.
All right, so that is a pretty sizable investment then, at 80 points.
Yeah, but he does get it away. I mean, he swings. He has Negan actually has a special equipment, Lucille, of course, because in the game there are few items that are only usable by certain characters. For example, Carl's lucky hat, which can basically prevent him from dying every time.
Yeah.
Well, not every time, but you get a 50-50 chance to just don't die.
Awesome.
Which is funny because one of the governors gets that as a basic ability. So, yeah, but Lucille is just a very good melee weapon.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the best, not the best you could get, but for Negan it's perfect, of course. I mean, it has been tailored to him, but he gets a real good punch out of it. He can take on most characters in melee and usually kill them in 1 or 2 turns if they're not careful.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a real fan favorite, so.
Yeah, but I think the important thing to notice here, if you fight in melee, you have to choose if you want to attack or if you want to defend.
Ah.
And because if you don't defend, you get all the damage that's rolled, which makes Negan even harder because he has, I think, 2 white dice. I think 1 white and a blue one, but it's basically a super good roll you can get out of it.
Nice.
Because the blue die does not have any blank sides.
So you always get something.
And the white one only.
So you always get something with it.
Exactly. You will get at least 1 damage out of it.
Fantastic.
So yeah, the thing that you don't get any minus any nerfs for rolling headshots in melee, and a headshot just means an extra damage. So the chances of hitting a headshot with the blue one is pretty good. Actually, I think it's a 30%, 33% hit chance for a headshot.
Nice. Okay, and if someone, like a total noob like me, wanted to get into this game or find out more, what resources would you point them towards? I mean, Facebook groups, podcasts, or anything like that?
I can't really give you any good advice on that because I sort of just learned the game for myself. Like I mean,
So
I usually am not
easy to pick up.
one.
So it's
Easy to pick up, really.
Awesome.
It's just like a super thin rule book.
That's
Like
what we like.
I wouldn't even. It's not really a book. It's a small like. I think it's only 30 pages long.
Okay, so it's very much a more German style in its rule implementation.
What?
Sorry, I'm a avid board gamer, so a lot of when we refer to German style is sort of light on rules but heavy on theme, as it were.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
I mean, it would add up if you buy all the expansions because each one has different new rules. For example, as I said, Days Gone By has the character creation, but also rules for burning enemies and burning terrain.
Yeah.
Fear the Hunters has traps as a new implementation. But I think it's super easy to get into.
So each expansion sort of adds complexity.
Exactly.
So if you find a level you're comfortable with, you can just sort of stay there if you wanted to.
You can, but it's like totally worth it buying the expansions just for the characters alone because each expansion has characters only in this expansion.
Right. Perfect. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us, and we will obviously have to have you on again sometime. I think we'll definitely do something about Oldhammer, so I might definitely.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Grab you for that one. But yeah, thanks very much for coming on, Negan. And if anybody wanted to see any of your painting work, it's Instagram, isn't it? What's the account? It's Papa Negan, isn't it?
Yeah, Papa Negan.
Right, I will put links to that in the show note. But thank you very much for joining us. And
you're welcome.
Yeah, we'll move on with the show.
That was Papa Negan and Michael talking about Walking Dead All-Out War.
That was a very nice conversation.
Good. And now we're moving into Star Wars Legions.
Yeah.
And you're talking with Gareth.
Yeah, and I've got I want to ask a question afterwards.
Yeah.
Can I get some clones?
Can we get a bigger house?
Yeah, I gotta downsize some armies first, really. All right, guys, I am joined by my good friend Gareth Waine, and we're going to talk a little bit about a game that I literally have no idea about because I've never played it or touched it, even though I really want to. Star Wars Legions. It's Star Wars, so who wouldn't love it? So what we'll do is we'll start with what we do with all of our guests when they come on for the first time. Can you tell us a bit about your background in gaming? How did you get into it, and what do you play now?
So I started off when I was like 9, like 31, 32 now. Yeah, 31. It's hard to remember in lockdown.
Yeah, I know.
But no, it was in Newcastle, the Games Workshop that used to be down from where the gate is now. I don't know how often you've been round lately.
Oh yeah, no, it's yeah. It was,
you know which one I mean?
Yeah, with the big gaming room upstairs.
No. The one before that.
The other one, the one before that. Oh yeah, I know that one as well.
So I walked past that, and they used to have a display in the wall, and it was Imperial Guard breaking their way into a Tyranid hive.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah, and it looked like an ant farm. It was amazing. I literally saw that, got so excited, like 9 years old, and had me mum like dragged in there and had a look and everything. And then I was like, oh, this is really awesome. I love this stuff. I had to go with the painting and the usual. because they always get you down for the painting and the little bit of playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go with that. And as they were like showing you around and explain what it was, it's like, oh, it's Warhammer 40,000. It's this, that, and the other. And then I saw two people playing on another table, and they were playing fantasy. And I was like, what are they doing? They're playing Warhammer Fantasy. It's the other game we played. Trying to downplay it, while like the sickest Metallica album in the world is playing over the speakers. And I was like, that looks like Shogun Total War. The first one that I'd like literally just played. So I went over, and that was basically me hooked into the hobby there. I got so excited. I got the starter set, the Orcs and Goblins and Empire one.
Mm-hmm.
And that was me hooked. Got into that. Played fantasy until I was like mid-teens, then dropped out of the hobby because girls and drink.
Yep.
Came back in me late teens, early 20s for a bit, and got into 40k. And then just dabbled a bit until I went to work for GW a bit.
Oh,
and
nice.
I've been stuck in it ever since then. Obviously, don't work GW now.
No.
But no, staying with it.
Awesome. That's fantastic. And what type of games do you play at the minute?
So primarily for the last 5 years, I'd say I've been playing 30k almost exclusively. But I dabble in a bit of Armada occasionally. I played some 40k occasionally. I've started collecting and played a couple of games now of Legion. And those couple of games were enough to learn how to play and fall in love. And then lockdown kicked off, and I've been trying to do it through TTS.
Ah, yeah. Awesome.
And I've also managed to play a lot of 40k 9th edition through TTS.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Because I've been struggling to get into it, but I should try a bit more. But excellent. So you've really been enjoying. So you've really been enjoying what you've been playing on Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah, I mean it's not great, but it's more than okay.
Yeah, that's what you need at some point, isn't it?
Well, we need it now, don't we? And it's been good for, especially for learning Legion, and going past just knowing the rules to actually knowing the tactic of the game.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Star Wars Legion. So I guess at the core of what is Star Wars Legion? How would you describe it at its core?
So it's very much a control point based sci-fi war game. And I say control point in the idea of you're not looking to just say shoot down the other player. You're not looking to just stay in one place. You have to move around the board. You have to take control of the game. And because it's played in I choose a random symbol out of a bag, which represents one of the units. So it'll be a troop unit, a special unit, a commander unit, a vehicle, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You have to have a lot of options on the board, because you can take yours, then they take theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big change for me, coming from like 40k and 30k and stuff. But I believe it's similar to the way bolt action works.
A lot of games have gone with that whole alternating turns.
Yeah, because I've seen it a lot in just some skirmish games I've tried, but I'd never actually played it properly in a big strategic war game.
Mhm.
And it really, really works for the way they've built the game, because you never know what you're going to get to do.
Yeah.
And it's all about the list building for the synergy to choose what you get to see before you have to go blind hunting.
Mm-hmm. Right, cool. So it's very much a more strategic game, I guess, on the ground. Not strategic, more tactical, I suppose. More, thinking.
Yeah. There's no. I know what my plan is going to be, and that's what I'm going to do. That I'm used to from like 30k or 40k or even a lot of other games like that, because you don't actually get to choose.
Yeah, because it could change any moment.
Yeah, you've got a very limited amount of ways to specify what kind of unit you're going to use. Mm-hmm. And if you just if you put down, say, a couple of specials and stuff and vehicles, you could try and, before the game turn, assign an order to them so that you'll be able to just choose to use them whenever you want. But you might not have, but you probably won't have enough to get all of them.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. It's awesome. That air of mystery you don't usually get in a wargame.
Yeah. And I guess sometimes you need that little bit of mystery just to make it, I suppose in a way you've got to react more. You're thinking.
Yeah, because the rules are very tightly written and they are not complicated in the slightest.
Yeah.
So that extra level of tactical thinking, to be like, I can't put myself in a position where I'm going to have to do things that I don't want to, is really fun.
I suppose that's what you need, isn't it?
Yeah.
Times you need that bit of thinking and unpredictability to sort of really mix things up a bit.
Yeah, it's quite fun in the way of you're not just playing against your opponent, you're playing against your own preconceived idea of how the mission will go.
So you can't really just, as you say, this is how I'm doing my turn.
Yeah.
Because your opponent could do something that sort of rips up your whole plan, and you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, like quite easily. You can start off your turn saying, oh, well, that's fine. I've already, through my commander, decided that these 2 units are definitely going to be able to act whenever I want to, and the rest are going to be pulled from the bag. Mm-hmm. That's great, but it's only 2 units, and you'll have like 9.
Yeah.
It does mean you have to have a certain level of board control, because it even has a morale option, which you have to be in a certain range of a commander to use their morale, because everyone else has like morale, a morale of 1. So because there's a lot of tokens in the game, much like Fantasy Flight's other games.
Yeah.
And say you get 2 pinning tokens, you then are more than your morale. You double your morale. You start to run away.
Oh.
Now you could use your commanders, which I love Vader for it. Like, I love Empire. love to play Vader, and he's basically got no morale thing, so he's never scared of anything. So if you're within a certain range of him, your unit is never scared of anything, because who you're more afraid of? Getting shot, maybe, or having Vader just reach out and squeeze your neck until you're dead. It's one of those things. But if he's out of range, most troops, most basic units, most units actually, have only got a morale of 1 or 2. If you don't even really need to kill people, you just need to hit them. Keep them pinned down, and suddenly they're thinking this battle's not going their way. They start running away. It's got a lot of things that I wasn't prepared for or wasn't aware of, and it's really fun.
So the leaders are very important in that respect.
Oh yes, they've got a nice set of all of the different characters, and having recently brought out the new starter set. I say recently, but recently in that we haven't really got a lot of time to use it because of the stuff going on.
Yeah, pandemic and stuff.
It's made a big change because obviously it was just dual faction, and now there's 4.
Oh, yeah.
So it makes a big difference going from just Empire Rebel to Empire Rebel Republic Separatist.
Mm-hmm.
And they've updated the rule set. They've done a proper 2nd edition of it. They re-released a lot of FAQs and things to keep it fresh. They've always been very good at fixing issues with the game. So this is overpowered, this isn't powered enough, fixing it, and also, rules queries.
Right. So when you get back into it, you're going to be able to sort of crack on the ground and not be waiting around. Right, what's the impact of these? What's the FAQs done? And they've already sort of done that work.
Yeah, and they've been really great. Obviously, they'll be moving from FFG to Atomic Mass games, which is all, as you know, it's all
Asmodee. So
yeah, there's no difference in the company; it's just a different department.
Mm-hmm.
But Fantasy Flight and Atomic Mass, they're always really good at doing online introductions and walkthroughs and how you play. This is what we're doing. This is how things are changing. So that's always great to see. That kind of community support and connection is great to see in a game.
Awesome. I mean, my next question was going to be, is it just based on the original movies, or does it include stuff from the prequels? Well, you've already answered that. We've got the Separatists and the Galactic Republic. But are we also including content from things like the Clone Wars and the other sort of series is going on there? I'm probably thinking more the Clone Wars because that's probably the biggest series there was.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. We've got a lot of units that obviously you would only have seen in the Clone Wars cartoons replicated into the actual Clone Wars expansion of the game, as you'd say, because we all remember the films if we've seen them. There wasn't a whole lot of specificity. You weren't aware this is this and that too. These are the Jedi Masters and they're not named. But we've got all that now, so as we go on, we get more released. One of the most fun things, because they've released stuff for the Star Wars Rebels cartoon as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you can have what's her face? I keep forgetting her. The Mandalorian girl with the darksaber.
Oh yeah. It's one of the. No, I know her. I know her.
Yeah,
But I'm just getting
on
them
the
mixed
tip
up with
of
the other
your
one.
tongue.
There's two of
Yeah.
them, isn't there? There's this,
There is 2.
yeah.
Ren.
Ren, yes, that's it. So Sabine?
Sabine? Yes, Sabine.
Yes.
That's it. Because there's the other one.
Yeah, because there's the one from the Clone Wars and there's the one from Rebels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Sabine Wren is...
Rebels, isn't she? Because she's played by Katie Sackhoff,
Yes.
and she did it in The Mandalorian. So
Yeah, I'm sure it's her.
yeah,
Might be the other one.
possibly.
Yeah. It's just one of the 2.
Yeah, and obviously that means I'm guessing Clan Ren are involved then as well.
Yes, they were actually released in the last year. You can
Ooh.
actually take Clan Ren as a unit
Oh, nice.
for the Rebels. And it's like, oh, that's so good.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds awesome.
And obviously at the same time they released what their name? The Thingy Squad from Battlefront.
Oh,
Inferno Squad.
nice.
So that was the Imperial release to go with it, just bringing in the games. It's the amount of expanded lore. It's all the new lore, obviously. They're not going into any of the old retcon stuff, but
Yeah.
all of the new approved by Disney, they're quite happy to expand into any of it, which is great because the amount of stuff you can get. Like they've released the Orc Troopers for the Republic.
Oh, very nice.
So you get jetpack clones. Oh, brilliant.
I must admit, Republic or the Clone Troopers is the thing that's probably tempting me most.
Yeah, they've got that stormtrooper look, but also you get to take Jedi, and yeah, it's really exciting.
But I must admit, I am very much an Empire man. I know they're the bad guys, but I just love TIE fighters. I love stormtroopers.
Yeah, they are the way. Like when I saw that you could take the snow troopers, I was just like, oh, yes.
I tell you what will get me though, shore troopers, because I love them.
Oh, they've got them.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you're gonna get killed.
Literally, you can take shore troopers with the dark troopers. Is it the dark troopers?
Death troopers.
The death troopers, yeah. You can take the shore troopers and the death troopers, and you could take the character from Rogue One.
Also Ornick.
Yes. Yes.
I can never remember his name.
Yeah. That guy. Krennic. That one.
Director Krennic.
Yes. You can take Krennic with them, and to get special rules for being with him. So they've got all that synergy that's built into them. And I mean, one of the first purchases I got was an ATST.
Oh yeah.
Like I was just like, I hadn't even played the game. I was just, I need an ATST.
Well, I mean, if you watch The Mandalorian, it's just like that.
Oh yes.
That was just fantastic. And that, of course, after seeing that, you sort of realize in retrospect how absolutely brutal and manic and terrifying are Ewoks. Yeah.
It does make you look back and go, how did that happen? What are these guys doing in their lives that they were able to, I mean, kill the stormtroopers, sure, but they were breaking the ATSTs with logs.
Yeah, it's
just what?
Yeah, Ewoks would not like to face them.
Oh, I know. Have you played Battlefront?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have.
I got into that when it came out on Epic for free. Give a go at that. Ewoks and that are horrific, and I'm like, oh, that is probably what they're going to be like in Legion when they eventually release them.
Yeah, I've also got it in Epic as well because that was a great release. That.
Oh yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I mean, next question would be, how would you get into it? I mean, is there a starter set?
So there is technically 2 starter sets. There's the original core Legion set, which was when it was still the dual faction. So you've got the Empire and you've got the Rebels. You get Luke, you get Vader, you get some Rebel troopers, you get some Stormtroopers, you get some speeder bikes, and you get a little is the ATRT, the little one-man chicken walker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty good. It's pretty cheap. But when they started Clone Wars, they released a full Clone Wars version 2 expansion, and obviously it'll have the updated rules. And that one is the Separatists and the Republic, with obviously it's led by Obi-Wan Kenobi and General Grievous.
Oh, Grievous!
But from the beginning, you can be hello there. Yeah, and that's great. Again, you get some troops, you get some droids, you get some clones, you get a speeder for the Republic, and for the Separatists, you get destroyer droids, which are brilliant because they come with 2 models. They've got one that you use when they're rolling and they have the shield, and one that you use when they've peg-legged themselves out and are shooting. It's brilliant.
Very nice.
It's the weirdest thing ever to provide 2 models when the way the game works, technically you wouldn't be able to do that, but it's still awesome.
Awesome. So they sound cool as.
Oh yeah. I mean, the Separatists are amazing. The stuff they get, the way they're built. I mean, when the B2 battle droids came out, I don't know if you've seen the chrome paint by, is it Green Stuff World? But
yeah,
someone painted the B2 battle droids in that like the week it came out, and it was just that's the way.
Yeah, because I've seen Duncan's done some painting guides on clones and stormtroopers as well. So
yeah,
a few of us. I think he's done Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, well, it's
and
great.
Darth Maul.
It's great to see the stuff that he's doing now.
Oh, definitely.
Because it's obviously he's always been a decent painter, but it's not the painting; it's the explanations. He's a very good teacher.
As I say to everyone, if you want to win a Golden Demon, there are other people who will tell you to do that. If you want to be a good tabletop standard painter, Duncan's your man.
Yeah, Duncan will teach you the basics and the intermediates that you need to know to paint, and he will teach you well. You will understand what you were taught.
Yeah.
And then you've got like other things where you're like, I'll go here and I'll learn from them. It's like that they're out of your league at the minute. Go somewhere else, learn what you need, then you don't go straight. No one went straight to high school.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
Exactly. And that's fantastic. And obviously teaching white is a very good thing, because
learning white, I was lucky because I'd started my white scars in 30k before I did my before I'd actually started my stormtroopers.
Yeah.
So I'd already learned like the nice ways you can use blue and blue washes to bring out the color on white.
Yeah.
So bringing that to the stormtroopers was really good.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Fantastic. And so 2 starter sets, which just brilliant because it gives you loads and loads of options.
Yeah.
So I guess the next thing is, how does it differ from games like Warhammer 40k and Age of Sigmar, I guess, because that's, I suppose, where, as you did and I did, that's where most gamers sort of start out. So
yeah.
I mean, you've already discussed, you've got the low morale so they can break easy, and you've got the alternative activations, but is it like a bit like X-Wing as well, where you've got all the cards and...
Yes, exactly. You've got like as people playing 40k and Age of Sigmar will be used to, they've got like the data sheet.
Mm-hmm.
But the data sheet is a card. And then instead of paying points that are on the data sheet or going looking in the codex, you then have upgrade cards that come with them based on a couple of symbols down the side of the card that you can match up and go, oh, right, well, I can pay the points for this, I can pay the points for that, and you just add the card.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately means like it does put the slight downer on the fact that you would need to buy generally things that you don't particularly want for just one army to get all the cards.
Right.
I've never been a
like
fan of that one. Yeah, exactly the same as X-Wing, same as Armada. It's the Fantasy Flight setup. I think they've been doing that since Star Wars Assault.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, if you're playing with your friends, you just need to know what it says. You don't actually need the card.
Yeah. Awesome. So that sounds quite cool. You said there's a lot of tokens as well.
Yeah, there's tokens for the unit type. There's token for unit actions. There's token for unit effects. They're all very useful because there is a lot of effects that a unit can go through. And it is nice to be able to visually represent them. Mm-hmm. That's something that obviously we don't have in Age of Sigmar and 40k really.
Yeah, not officially, but yeah.
Yeah, like there's people who do like -1 tokens and stuff just to remind people.
Mm-hmm.
And
so it's a very easy way to it's a very easy way to visually see immediately what's going on with your models.
In the concept of the game, I don't think it works very well in 40k a lot of the time and stuff like that. But the way that you do it in
Legions,
it really do just put that little token on the card. Because obviously you've got all your cards in front of you. You can just put the token on the card. You're going to be referencing that card when you move the unit, shoot the unit, whatever. You've got the token to tell you. And that's a lot simpler than if you had to put tokens on units and then you're referencing a book. The way it works a lot easier. The way it works is appropriate to having tokens.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't feel like you've tacked something on.
Right.
And I did like that. The way that it does the You Go, I Go, that, you know, is unusual for those of us who play 40k and Age of Sigmar. That was a big change for me. Like, I think I said it earlier, but it took me a while to really get it and be like, okay, yeah. Because it does cut out a lot of Alpha Strike options.
Mm-hmm.
But it also means you're keeping your opponent guessing for a lot longer. And that can lead to the same sort of issue where you can keep your opponent guessing for so long that they've expended their heavy stuff or they've moved their heavy stuff to get a better position, and then you can just use your heavy stuff. I don't know which one's better, but I do think it works for the game system.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. So, I mean, that's obviously each system has its own benefits and advantages and works of it. So,
because obviously in like 40k and stuff, your movements and things like that are all varied now. In Age of Sigmar, I think you are as well. I don't play it as much, but I'm sure it was. But in Legion, everyone's just got a number on their card, 1, 2, or 3. You move the leader that far, and then you place the other models in a coherency around them.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not moving the whole unit, so it makes a lot of difference to movement placement, because that model doesn't have to move 6 inches or anything. It could move like 12. As long as the leader only moves the range 1 or range 2. And it's got a bit of the old 40k and 30k unit facing. Because the way the rangefinder works is it's one of those proprietary bendy things.
Mm-hmm.
So you place it at the front of the unit, like X-Wing and Armana, and you direct it to where you want to end up. Then you pull the unit up and click it to the end and remove the rangefinder. So again, you need to be aware of facings, which is something I was happy to see.
Yeah. Awesome. So what would you say your favorite models? I mean, be that in terms of sculpting or in gameplay?
So favorite models if I was going to go sculpting, as you said earlier, the Shore Troopers.
Yeah. Awesome.
Because they do look like they do in the film. They are almost perfect representations of what you would expect from Rogue One. And I love that film.
Oh yeah, it was a good film.
It was amazing. As for gameplay, Vader.
Yeah.
Just because Vader plays the way you would expect Vader to play.
Awesome.
Vader has the ability to kill one of his own soldiers to make them take an extra action. He's fearless. He's amazing in combat. He's got the ability to throw his lightsaber. He has everything you ever want. Now, the original model that came out is okay, but it was in soft plastic, so it looks great, and I like the one I did, and I've painted up, but from too long of sitting there, the lightsaber now gets very droopy. So it looks like he's gone a bit floppy. They have got another one, a one that was released as an operative, which is like a second line character. So I'm gonna pick that one up, and hopefully that's made out of the tougher plastic that they make things out of now, which is close to what people who play GW games will be used to.
Yeah. So it's a more hard PVA than. Yeah,
it's the stuff that you would use plastic glue on, because the original stuff, it's super glue that you want. It is not melty. It's just surprisingly soft.
So they've sort of realised where they've gone wrong and made it change.
Which was really good, because when the new stuff came out in the Clone Wars, it was the original set of clones that came out. They were still in the soft plastic, but the droids are all on sprue. So that they went in the hard plastic, and they've just transitioned everything.
Awesome. So the core sets are they're still the soft plastic, but
yeah, other than the droids in the Clone Wars core set.
Cool. Okay, so what would you suggest for a total noob like me to find out more about the game? Because I'm very interested now that I can get Shore Troopers.
Yeah. So personally, I read up on it a lot on the internet, like we usually do. But what really worked for me is battle reports on YouTube. And one person in particular does the best content. And I'm talking all of the content, from model releases to actual games.
Okay.
Do you want the name?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's Krabok. And I don't know if you'll have seen them before, but they do all of the Fantasy Flight stuff.
Oh, yes, I think I know who you mean now. I will put a link in the show notes. So
yeah, CRABBOK. But almost anything you want to know about Legion, or if you want to see learn to play, how units play it once you've advanced into actually playing yourself.
Yeah.
He's perfect for it.
Awesome. Perfect. That's what we want. Awesome. Excellent. Well, I think that's about all we got time for. But thank you very much for joining us, Gareth.
No problem.
We'll definitely be having you on again because there's some other games you want to discuss as well. So.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
I think Chris is lining you up to talk about Legions. Not Legions. Armada. We're just talking about Legions.
Yeah.
Armada.
Oh, yes, Armada. Oh, yeah. So good as well.
Yeah, awesome. Fantastic. Okay, all right, brilliant. Thanks very much, Gareth, and we'll move on to the next section.
Have a good day. Bye, man.
Thank you very much, Gareth. Bye-bye.
So the time has come for me to build my Ironjawz War Scroll up, and yeah, I'm completely useless. It's going to be an experience.
Yeah, because you've not actually played any Age of Sigmar before, have you?
I haven't. I've had this army for
about 3 years.
Yeah, about 3 years. In boxes, unpainted, unbuilt, and it's about time I did something with it because it looks like a great game and I want to get into it. So this is the beginning of the journey. We thought we'd record it so people can see how we've put this together and might inspire other people to do the same.
Well, that's what we hope. So yeah. I think what we'll do is we'll start off by, I've explained to Megan off camera the basic sort of almost force organisation chart of the of Age of Sigmar. So we're aiming for 2,000 points, and we sort of explained that that requires a leader and at least 3 battle line units, and we sort of more or less familiarised herself with which units are battle line and not, but not fully. So I wouldn't say
not fully. I just got a few ideas of what. A
few ideas. So yeah. I think we're using War Scroll Builder on the Age of Sigmar, well, on the Warhammer community website, because the thing with Age of Sigmar is the points change every year.
Yes.
You get an General's Handbook, and it means there's always a race to keep up. And there are other army building apps out there, like Battlescribe and such, but we're using the official one today.
Yeah. Give it a try.
Give it a try. So how about we start with the actual... We already had a look through the actual book, a little look, and because we also want to introduce a War Scroll Battalion. So which one are we going to pick there, Megan?
Well, we were looking at either the Iron Fist or the Weird Fist, and I think we were thinking the Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, then again, the Weird Fist doesn't look too bad because you've got a magical thing there. So, should we have? What is that green puke? Is that on the? Should we have a look?
Green puke does sound quite interesting.
That's the Weird Fist. Let's have a look on the Weird Knob Shaman. Abilities. No, that's the War Chanter. Green puke. Here we go. So, what's the green puke do?
So, casting value of 6.
Imagine straight line. So what we're doing is we're drawing a straight line. So we're rolling 2d6, and then we're picking a point and then drawing a straight line between the weird knob and that, and then everything thingy's there. It suffers.
Everything's D3 mortal wounds.
Yeah. That actually doesn't sound too bad.
That's quite effective.
And you can use it twice.
You use that twice.
Yeah.
That could be quite interesting. Maybe we could go with that one then. Weird Fist.
Weird Fist, yeah. Just for the weirdness of it. So for that, you need 1 Orc Weird Knob Shaman.
I do have one of them.
We do have one. Should we actually say what you've got? And 3 to 5 Brutes or Hard Boys. So we actually say what we got. So where have I put that? Screen with what we've got. So we've got. Do you want to read out what you got?
So hanging around in boxes, I've got a Mega Boss on a Maw Crusher, excellent looking model, a War Chanter, a Weird Knob Shaman, 2 2 lots of brutes.
Yep.
Which are how many models?
5 in each.
5
so
in each. So that's 10 brutes altogether. 2 lots of the Grunter models. So that's 6 total. 10 Ardboys and a Man Crusher Gargant. Is that the giant?
That's the giant.
That could be an ally.
Yeah, he could be an ally because you
choose that.
You got a battle force a while back that had the Man Crusher Gargant in there, and he can be a nice little ally if we so choose to have him in there. So let's go back to War Scroll Builder. So we know what we want. We want the battalion. We want the weird fist. Now the thing is, as I explained there before, the thing with the battalions is, and in my opinion, it makes them much better than what we had when we had formations in 40k, because we all remember what an awful thing that was.
I can't actually.
You can't? Ah, right.
No,
well,
I don't remember that.
It was basically stuff. People got stuff for free that were really good, and it was like, why are you getting all this stuff for free and I'm got nothing? And it was really bad. It kind of spoiled the game a little bit, which is a shame because the idea behind them were great.
Yeah.
But
so just fix it a little because we have to pay for the.
Yeah, you pay for the models.
For the models and
for the ability. Yeah. So in this case, you're paying 140 points apparently. So we need to pop in. So we've got the battalion in there. So this is my first time using this. So we need to add in the units. So we need. Adding your brutes. So add your brutes in. And the brutes are 130 points each.
Okay. So
that's both your brutes there. I don't think we're going to be delving deep into the weapons at this point. Because the weapons, the thing with Age of Sigmar is, whereas you're obviously familiar with how to build a list in 40k.
Yes, and weapons are a big thing. Choosing your weapons is a big thing in that.
Yeah, but in
building it's a kind of a big thing.
In 40k, Age of Sigmar, not 40k. In Age of Sigmar, you just pay the points for the unit. There's no granularity.
Oh, okay.
So if a unit is 5 models, you just pay for those 5 models. You don't pay for what weapons they have.
That makes it simpler.
It does make it simpler. It is a pain in the bum when you've got certain units certain boxes which you buy it and then you can build a leader out of it and then you've got a spare model because they usually come in 2s or 3s or whatever and then you've not got the thing to make it up. But if you've got 7 models and you buy them in lots of 5, to get the next 2 in there, you pay for the next 5.
Yeah.
So it is a bit of a pain.
Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we put in those. So there's 2 Orc brutes, and they get choices of weapons. You've got your brute choppers and your jagged gore hackers. Shall we have a look at the book and see what they are? We don't really have to delve in deep, but this is a Sigmar profile. So you've got this is the basic sort of stat line there. So you got your move. Oh, they're gore grunters. They're not brutes. So you got your move. So you see they're big guys, but they can only move 4 inches.
Okay.
So they are quite slow. They've got 3 wounds each, so their morale, their bravery is 6, and they've got a 4+ armor save. So they're still pretty nasty.
Yeah.
And then it breaks down the weapons there.
Okay.
So you get your range of the weapon. So most weapons are melee weapons are 1 inch. In this case, you've got long melee weapons, like the gore hackers are quite long.
Yeah.
So they've got a larger range. The number of attacks they make, and then like 40k is now just a 3+ to hit, a 3+ to wound, and then you've got your essentially your rend is sort of like your armor penetration.
Oh, okay.
And then you've got your damage, and then obviously ghoul choppers, boss claws, and brute smasher are a bit more damage.
Yeah.
But for example, here you've got it, and then in the description it gives you so you've got a unit of Orc brutes has any number of models. The unit is armed with one of the following weapons: a pair of brute choppers or jagged jaw hacker, and 1 in every 5 can take a gore chopper. So that's sort of like a big boss weapon, as it were. And then the boss gets his own type of weapons that are a little bit different. But that's generally it. And then they've got their own ability. So If they're attacking something a bit bigger, like it's just very thematic here. Duff up that big thing. Do you want to say that in your orc voice?
Duff up the big thing.
Yeah, we all love making orc voices. So add 1 to the hit rolls for wounds made by this unit against a target with wound characteristic 4+. So if it's a big model or it's got more wounds, these guys have an easier time hitting it.
That makes sense.
Because they're bullies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. But they're your troop choices, your basic troop choices. But you've also got another battle line troop choice that you need to put in because the Weird Fist is 3 units of either brutes or Ardboys. And the Ardboys, they're what we used to call Black Orcs back in the day. They're like Ironjawz cheerleaders. I think that's the best way to describe them. They're sort of like orcs that have decided, I want to be an Ironjawz, so I'm going to dress up like one, but I'm not quite big enough yet, and I'm going to follow them around and...
Oh, bless.
Yeah, they're like...
A little fan club.
Yeah, they used to be the biggest orcs in Warhammer Fantasy, and now they're almost like grots to the big orcs. I know, it's kind of mad. They're not as good, but they are... they're actually really nice models despite their age. So you need to have that unit because you've only got 2. So you need to put in Ardboys. Yes. And the Ardboys are 100 points each. And we need 10 of them. So you buy them in 5. So there's 5. So as you can see there on the manual. So this just makes a great radio here. You've got on the War Scroll Builder, it's got a man symbol there. You've got 5 there. So we need to pop in. Boom, there.
Yeah.
And that means that they're battle line because Ironjawz battle line or Big Wild battle line if you've got 10 or more models.
Okay.
So that puts us to a total of 600 points right now. And you've got your battle line in there.
Yep.
And a battalion. But now you need a leader. Oh, we do need to put in the Weird Knob Shaman, don't we?
We do need the Weird Knob Shaman.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
So he's on another 120 points. So we're actually 720 points. And that's literally a valid army.
Okay, just as small as that.
Yeah, you can have that as small as that. I mean, you can shove in 3 endless spells, but we'll talk about endless spells in another show.
Yes, because they're very... When they came up, I was like, what?
Yeah. We'll talk about them another time.
I have no idea.
But, yeah. In the meantime, so you want to add so you probably want to add one of the big models. So we'll knock off the bits that we've put in. So we put in the brutes, and we put in the Ardboys, and we've put in the Weird Knob Shaman. We've just got them open there. I do love that Weird Knob Shaman model.
Yeah.
I don't think I could paint that smoke with a galaxy sort of effect there.
Oh, I'm gonna have a
go. Better you than me. Okay.
Use contrast to do the wet blending effect on that.
I suppose you are quite good at wet blending on contrast. Yeah. Do you want to shove in a more mega boss and a more crucker? Because
do I want to give myself that challenge?
It's not actually that. I don't think it'd be that hard to paint. But it's just a cool model.
Would it be that hard to paint, or there's painting it and there's painting it well?
That's true. Anyway,
go on. We'll shove it in. It's
460 points.
460 points. We'll
so that literally goes in. And here's the thing: he's actually both a leader and a behemoth. And behemoths you're limited to 4, so they're like massive, great big models. And leaders you're limited to 6. So he counts as both.
Right.
So if we take a quick look at his war scroll, Mega Boss and a Maw Crusher. So he does actually have a ranged weapon, a missile weapon, and melee weapons, and you get a choice to arm in there.
Cool.
And I'm going to show you this. You're probably familiar with the what you call it. What's the word I'm looking for? Degrading damage. Yeah.
Yeah, degrading damage. Yeah.
In a 40k, and this is the same thing. So his number of attacks from his mighty tail and fist and tail sort of get worse.
The more wounds he suffered.
The more wounds he suffers, yeah. And the same with his move. He gets less move
the more damage is done, the less he can do, and the less
Yeah,
he can
because he's a
move.
bit. Oh, I'm hurt. I don't.
Yep.
I can't move any for. Which is quite.
I broke a nail. I don't want to move.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, so he's quite an interesting little guy. He's got this destructive bulk here, which is sort of an ability he gets. So when he makes a charge move, so again, you're familiar with charging 40k.
Yes.
Yeah, so he gets to roll 8 dice when he's not no wounds, and for each 5+, he causes the enemy to suffer a mortal wound. Because I mean, that's a big nasty thing charging at you.
Yeah, you really wouldn't want that charging at you.
Yeah, but again, a little bit of an option there. You can change his weapon from the Boss Gore Hacker and Chopper, or Boss Chopper and Rip Tooth Fist. And both have their slightly different. Like the Boss Gore Hacker is.
It's got more of a range, more attacks.
Yeah. And 2 damage. But this one is.
It's not as good.
I can't see. Yeah, I can't see any
So why would
reason
you
why
go
you
for that?
Yeah, this has got better range. This has got more attacks, and stats look virtually the same. I don't know. I'm guessing you're going to go with the Gore Hacker and Chopper.
Yeah, better range and 2 more attacks. I would go for that.
Yeah, I would as well.
The same. Damage is the same. Range is the same.
yeah, yeah. It almost makes no sense, does it? Okay, so we've got him in, and that brings us up to 1,180 points.
Okay.
So that's quite cool. So what else have we got left to throw in here? Well, we've got the normal Mega Boss, we've got the War Chanter, and we've got the Gore Grunters. So, do you want to throw in 2 units of Gore Grunters?
Should we have a look at the points of what the points of everything left is?
Yeah, that's a good point, because yeah, we're going to need to make sure we get there. So units, so add units. Gore Grunters, they're 160 points each.
You'll throw some of them in.
Yeah, you've got 2 units of them. Do you want both, or do you want one big unit of, or 2 separate units?
See, that's always the thing with them, whether you want them in the same unit or separately.
Yeah, well, it's the same points, so
Yeah.
should we just shove them into 1 unit for
Yeah,
now?
shove them into
Shove them to
one.
1 unit for now, and then we can deal with that. But I mean, the only difference is, if you've got them in 1 unit, you've got to have all the same weapon. So you might want to have 2 different weapons. I don't know. Shall we have a look and see actually at the what the weapons are like?
Yeah.
Gore Grunters. So they
Again, that can be the advantage of having them in smaller groups.
So, there we go. So you've got the Pig Iron Chopper, 1 inch range, 4 attacks, 3+ hit, 3+ wound, -1 rent. But the Jagged Gore Hacker, it's got slightly longer range.
But 1 less attack.
Yeah. But I'd say that Jagged Gore Hacker is probably better if you've got a bigger unit. Because when you're in combat, it's sort of determined how far your weapon acts. So if you've got sort of like, again, bad radio, if this part of Towlight Ochre is the enemy, you've got one of your Gore Grunters here, and then one of your Gore Grunters here, he's going to still be able to reach.
Yes,
So
yeah.
if you've got the bigger unit, I'd probably go with the Jagged Gore Hacker. But otherwise, I think I'd stick with a Pig Iron Chopper. So,
In which case, they'll all have the same anyway, so they may as well be in the same group. So I may as well just go with the Jagged Gore Hackers.
yeah, okay. So we'll stick that for now. As I said, we're not making any decisions on weapons fully, but so that brings you
It'll
up
just
to
influence how I build them, really.
1,500 points. And what we've got left is a. Do you want to put the giant in there for a laugh?
Why not?
Yeah, should we put the giant in there? Sounds quite cool. So allies. How do we add an ally in here? Behemoth. Oh, my mouse was going all over the place. No, that's something from. How do you add an ally in this one? I don't think I can add an ally in here. I'm not sure how to.
Maybe go to where it says add units
Add units.
at the top.
Oh.
Add units and change it from Ironjawz.
You mean allegiance?
No, where is it add units?
Add units. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Oh, it doesn't seem to have them there.
Oh.
Okay, let's go with allegiance destruction. Let's change it to allegiance destruction slightly. Add units from Ale Guzzler Gargants. I'm going to add a Behemoth, an Ale Guzzler Gargant, who is 160 points. So he's got, there you go, movement 8, strength. He's got a war scroll, but I'd have to open up another book.
Yeah.
Do you want me to open up the book? I'll get the book. I'm using. I have them all electronically, so it's not exactly a big deal. But he's going to be in the Sons of Behemat, I believe, which is a brand new book. So Man Crusher Gargant, I suppose he is, rather than a. So let's actually dump that and add Behemoth. Elgar's got. Can you add Sons of Behemat? Oh no, that's not what you want. I think it is just going to be the or is in the Ogre Kingdoms. So this is weird. It doesn't work exactly the way I thought it was. I think it was just going to stick with the Elguzzler Gargant and use the Elguzzler Gargant battle scroll. But that'll be... See, this is where the site becomes actually interesting, because the website for Age of Sigmar, the war scrolls are free. The only thing you have to pay for are the points. So we've got 2 pages there. So here we go. Elguzzler Gargant. So we don't have his points in here, but that's in the thing. It's 160. So he's got... So he is basically armed with an Edbutt, a massive cub, and a mighty kick. So he's got 12 wounds. And that's not a bad set of weapons and stuff, is it, really? Attacks, massive club, 3d6. Hitting on a 3, wounding on a 3, -1 rend, 1 damage. So, but
pretty good.
Edbutt, d6 damage, down to 1, depending on
the wounds.
Yeah, so that's not too bad.
I should imagine the more injured he is, the less effective his headbutt is.
True, but that's going to be an interesting painting challenge for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
All that skin.
I've never painted that much skin before.
No.
It's only ever been... I think the most has been when I painted Drakari.
Yeah, but
witches.
But there's loads of options with the giant kit, to be honest. There's lots of options with the giant kit. It's the same basic shape, but there's lots of parts. Lots of different heads and clubs and stuff, so you can really, really customize him the way you want.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. So he comes in as a Man Crusher Gargant, a Chaos Gargant, or an Ale Guzzler, but we're going to stick with an Ale Guzzler because that's all he can take. Okay, so we go out to Scroll Builder. Alliance, Ironjawz. Select Warclan, Ironjawz. And from the Ironjawz. So we're up to 1,660 points. So what we've got left to add in, really, is a Mega Boss and a War Chanter. So, shall we pop them in?
Yeah.
So it's not a lot, really. So we might want to, at some point, buy some more. But maybe this is just the way we're doing it. So, you've currently got 2 leaders in there. So you can have another 4. So if we put in the Mega Boss, he's 140 points. And... Oh, you need to pick a general, so I'm assuming you want the general to be the Mega Boss and the Maw Crusher.
On the Maw Crusher, yeah.
Yeah, because he's going to be the...
He's the big one to beat.
Yeah, and then the War Chanter. So that gives you up to 1,910 points.
Okay.
So you're almost there. Now there is a thing we can do to use up those points, because you don't really have anything to use it.
No, I don't have any other models.
Don't have any other models. But that's not too bad, because then it means you've got a nice little target there.
Yeah.
But we can add in an extra command point.
Oh, that's cool.
Command points, you know, obviously you're familiar with them-ish from 40k.
Yeah.
But in here, you get one every turn. But you can get extra ones. You've got one in the bag to use at some point. That costs you 50 points.
It's beautiful.
So that will cost you 50 points. So if we were to shove that in, that means you're up to 1,960 points.
That's good.
I mean, is that a list you would... Do you think you could achievely build? You've got 1, 2... Oh, that's a very big model.
It's a big model.
1, 2, 3, 4... 14, 24, 30, 31 models.
It'll take me a while.
But doable.
It's doable, but it'll take me a while. I am a very slow painter. Maybe it'll challenge me to speed up my painting technique a little. I don't know.
Yeah, but as actual building an army list for Age of Sigmar, is that as intimidating as you found 40k has been?
To be honest, when building armies for 40k, when building lists, I've very much just gone with what you suggested.
Yeah.
I know this has very much been the same, but I've been more involved in this, say, than I have in the last couple of times we've put lists together. For 40k, so it's not daunting. I mean, it's easy enough to put together what you want to select.
Yeah, and do you think when you've got a bit more, you might be able to find it a bit easier to?
Yeah, because I'll have more choice as to what I want to put in there, rather than just having to put everything there.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't include any of the stuff that I got in Mortal Realms, did we? Because you've got another mega boss and another set of brutes potentially to use at some point.
Yeah.
So that'll be useful. I think there's another war chanter or weird non shaman in there. I think it might be a weird non shaman. So
yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, so awesome. So what we'll do with that was we'll round up the show, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, and that rounds up another episode of the Hobby Studio podcast. I actually really quite enjoyed this one. So what about you, Megan?
Yeah, it's been a good show.
Yeah. I think we need to get you more involved in some of the other segments. We're going to do Warhammer Underworlds next month, and
yes, I'm going to hop in on that conversation.
We're going to have a little game beforehand, but
yeah, hopefully,
yeah.
It's known a bit better. I'm
also going to be talking about Kings of War Armada from Mantic Games. So 2 Mantic games in a month in a row. That's pretty good. And then we're going to have a game of Aeronautica Imperialis and give our sort of thoughts on that game. Cause
yeah, we've never played it.
But bought it when it came out, but I've not played it yet.
Yeah.
In fact, it's even worse. I bought both games.
Yes. You bought it, you painted it, you just haven't played it. It sounds like a lot of your games.
I just saw the Tau and I was like, I want them.
Yeah.
I want them. How else am I going to own a Manta? They don't have a Manta yet for it. But
I'm looking at you right now, and all I can see behind you is a pile of stuff that you bought because you went, I have to have that.
My FOMO is real. I just don't understand. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Okay, so that's us for the month. Fortnight, month, whatever. We haven't really decided on the schedule yet, but this is going out like just over a fortnight after the last show. So we'll be back either a fortnight or a month. We'll see how it goes.
We'll be back in a while.
We'll be back in a little bit. But thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks very much.